So welcome back, 12 gauge. I hope you were ready for your close-up. Sorry about that. Oh, here, I muted you. There you go.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast. Tonight we're doing some true crime talk, some trending topics that have been coming up in the comment section in my IDAHO4 videos. So I brought 12 gauge in to help me evaluate tonight, and it looks like we've got a full crew in the chat. So thank you all for showing up, and thank you to my mods for being here. And 12, how are you tonight? You had a live stream earlier on the Brady Giglio, and I caught some of it. It was really fascinating. So,
Thank you so much. Yes, it was interesting getting to learn that again. I went over that in my studies early on when I first started back towards my bachelor's, and it's always nice to to learn stuff over again. It's an interesting concept, and I was trying to show the chat, and some of my subscribers, basically what the Brady Giglio is, because a lot of people don't know it. They don't understand it. But I was trying to simplify it so they could understand it.
I don't completely understand it, and I haven't made any theories on it because of my lack of understanding. So, for one thing, the folks listening, if you want to know more about that, please go check out his live stream from earlier. Be part of the replay crew, because anyway, he does a really thorough job and had a slideshow. So I thought that was cool. And if we have time, we'll talk about it
Okay.
later on too. So anyway, so I think we'll go ahead and I'm going to pull up. I'm going to pull up my first segment. So I'll just tell you guys what we're doing for segments tonight. I was chatting with 12 before we came on and letting him know, but I'll give you guys a heads up about what we're talking about. So the first thing I'm doing is kind of a correction or retraction. I reported on Kaylee's LinkedIn profile quite early on. And several months ago, I made an entire video about it back when stalking was a huge topic amongst everyone. So I'd like to make a retraction. One of my mods, Heather, actually sent me some detailed information on that. So that's going to be our first segment. And then I was going to bring up a tour that both me and 12 use on our channels, which is I think it's pronounced the Kula tour. Is the Kuula? Is that right? 12 Kula?
I'm sorry. Can you kind of give me a little heads up on what you're talking about here? I
Yeah.
was just kind of zoned out there for a minute. I was still playing your music in my head.
Yeah, I have that effect on people. Don't worry about it. Let me pull this up. So what I wanted to talk about is this tour. It's called Kuula, the Kula tour. No, this is the tour of
Oh
the
yeah,
inside
yeah,
the house.
yes.
And one of my mods who originally had shown me this tour has actually, I have some interesting screenshots to show you that have been removed or scrubbed from the site. And I just think it's an interesting story. I don't know what it all means, but I thought that it would make an interesting segment. So I've, created a few slides to show you of the photographs that have been removed. Some of them actually include Xana's Facebook posts and some of her postings for the room. And then I'm going to go back to, we're going to revisit 4chan. And the reason I'm revisiting that tonight is because we've had quite a bit of conversations about 4chan, but recently I had a new 4chan post to me that I hadn't explored before. And I was reading it, and it's quite fascinating. A couple statements that just seem so eerily knowledgeable prior to the PCA. And then I'm going to show you an interesting article from the Medium, which was scrubbed off the internet, but suggests that this is the connection. This is how authorities found BK. So that's one segment. And then the finale of everything we're going to be presenting tonight. And I know Jeff H is in the audience, so we got to give Jeff H for this, is a drip drop. Or Crime Circus has brought Grub truck back into the forefront, and I've never actually studied the footage. So tonight I have an entire compilation of timestamps and some comments that go along with them, and I got them all from Jeff H's channel, and we're going to play his video and explore those timestamps. And again, part of what we're doing is just showing what people are talking about. It doesn't mean that we believe in anything or we think this is evidence. It just means we're trying to show what people are talking about, maybe debunk it or dispel it, or maybe even find something that might be interesting that we want to take note of. So with that said, let's start.
You know what's interesting about what you just showed right now? If
What?
you look at that, like I was going on Zillow, I think, or wherever I found it for one of my streams, and it said the house has been demolished. Like it's no longer there. The 3D image there is no longer there. See how it says has now been demolished at the top?
And so it lists that on Zillow now as well.
Yes.
Hey, when I turn it like this, can you see my cursor circling that gray building right there?
Yes.
Is that the 712?
If you go up a little bit where the blue car is, no, you were going the right direction. But see where that blue car is? It's right there.
Okay.
That's 712. 710 and 712 are side by side.
Okay. Thank you. You know, since we have this pulled up, why don't we just start right off with talking about this tour? So, oh,
Okay.
gosh. Probably would help if I downloaded my file. Hold on. Save. Save. Hold on. This PC. Oh, I can hear the Chihuahua's 12. Not the Chihuahua. I'm sorry, the poodle.
I don't know what kind of dog it is. It's a little yapper.
Okay, stream one.
I would tell you a story about it, but it's too long to share. You know, it just it actually, or I'm gonna tell it. I gotta
Okay.
tell. Like when my niece was like 4 years old and she's like 16 now, this dog bit her. Like it bit her on the forehead or whatever because she had some food in her lap. And I guess he was trying to eat it and she went to like take something away from it. So you know how dogs are. And it didn't do it intentionally, but my brother had me take the dog in a kennel and drop it off, you know, like on the edge of town somewhere or whatever.
Oh, God.
And I did what I was told. I was a good soldier, you know what I mean? I went out there and took the dog, dropped it off. And then, you know, they felt bad about it. The next day they went looking for the dog because it was a family dog and this and that and the other. And well, since that time, that dog has hatred toward me like no other. Like that dog holds a grudge like no other. And I wasn't even the one that like instigated that it needed to be go, you know, went and dropped off. It, you know, just following orders. And that dog hates me. It hates me. Yeah.
We have a really huge problem because it looks like my PDF file. Wait, hold on. It looks like I just erased my PowerPoint file. Hold on. Don't give up, you guys. I might have it here. I might have to. I cannot believe I'm having another technical difficulty. Good Lord. There it is. Stream one. Here we go. Yay. All right. So it's in documents. All right. So let me just
So
go back.
what you were saying about that little area right there, that little apartment complex, that's where one of the cameras was supposedly facing the 1122 King Road house. And supposedly it got some footage.
So if everyone can see my cursor, you're talking about the 712 or you're talking about the 11?
The 712.
Okay. So let's go back so people can see that.
That's where we were discussing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that very early on, that's where a camera was supposed to be situated between 710 and 712. There's like a little drainage pipe or something there, and it's pointed at the 1122 house. And I don't remember what news agency was covering it, but they even drew a triangulation where they were showing where that camera could see in front of the 1122 house. So I don't know how accurate that camera would have been, but you know, very early on, all that was being stated.
Bear with me 1 second. All right, you guys, I think I've got this. So file, let's go save. Oh, I see what I did. I sent it presentation. So let me save it as a PDF. Save. Okay, I think I've done it. Sorry for the dead air, guys, but thank you for being here and bearing with me while I pull this up. This is so weird. All right, well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to the next segment, and then I'll come back to this.
Okay.
So, oh, that sucks. So I want to disappear and go do it, but we're live. So let me stop sharing my screen. Let's go ahead with the 4chan post. So,
Okay.
the first thing I'm going to do is present this 4chan post. So I hadn't seen this one before, but this was, again, written before the PCA. And we've highlighted the parts that are kind of peculiar, but I'm just going to read the whole thing. And I'm not going to say the names. I'm just going to say the initials. So JG could have intent. But if the victims were in bed at the time, it makes him less of a suspect, but not impossible for reasons. Ethan, not in the bedroom, per rumor, puts Jay back in the pool. And then this is highlighted. Supposing the rumor Dylan saw some dark figure silently standing there, but what was spared is true. So again, before the PCA. Coupled with the other rumor that she heard two males ruffling around upstairs. It makes for some odd speculation. Hearing two males is impossible. Saying two people or assuming it was two males would be more likely, but that wasn't how it was worded. Being a possible witness of the person who would who would unalive the four people but were spared, either lends itself to this person, would not unalive you, or it is just a rumor with no credibility. On the flip side, say it is true. That would mean either strictly random unaliver knew this was a party house, or seeing another random Dylan meant nothing to him and he unalive this is really hard to read, you guys. Unalive the four just because it seems highly implausible, or he is looking for something very specific, and when he did not find what he came for, he then dispatched the four he knew had something to do with it being there in the first place, and it is now gone. And he had no beef with Dylan because he didn't know her and he wasn't there for her, and he knew she couldn't identify him from the brief encounter, so he spared her life. Unlikely, because why leave a witness? But it's possible. Either that, or he didn't see her, or back to it's wholly untrue. I lean towards JD, but that is a lot of unglued in the crime of passion. Small hunch indicates a teenager, not in college, and the motive is scrambled. And then this is the other highlighted, really interesting part prior to the PCA. But the weapon that seems to be militaristic or hunter, seasoned to a degree because of the weight and size. But it's an odd hunting Skinner knife. Most deer hunters have a shaved hair, smooth blade, or animal dressing. So anyway, I found this really odd. And I'm not suggesting this is the person. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm bringing this up just to kind of say this is one of the groupings of the really scary 4chan posts that were out there. Have you read any of these 4chan posts? 12?
I haven't read this one, but early on there was speculation that Hoodie Guy was, a hunter, and there was a lot of tie-in with him, having photos of him with, animals that he's killed and dressed, and even some photos with him and a knife. So I don't know if this was kind of referencing that, but I had never seen this one before.
Well, I thought I'd tie this in just to kind of make it a little bit of a more interesting segment, I thought I'd tie in two things. One is an interesting article that's since been scrubbed off the internet that I found in the Medium. And what's interesting about the woman who wrote it is that she doesn't write about the IDAHO4. She's just basically a blogger. And she
Right.
just had information I'd never heard before. And it was odd. And I went looking for the rest of her work, nothing on the IDAHO4. And then there was a paywall put on the article, and then it disappeared. So again, it doesn't mean that it means anything, but it's interesting when we hear these early accounts. So I was going to bring that up. But right after that, I have a clip from Bubbly Waters, and it's from a viral TikTok star. And she claims that she put information out on a live stream that somebody contacted her and had her take it down because it was so spot on. But she mentions 4chan as well. So I thought I'd play this clip. It's just a soundbite. So let me take this down and pull up my little playlist here, and then hopefully I can get that that presentation while this is playing done. So let me share my screen.
That was hard to see, but it was mainly talking about two people upstairs, right?
Let me bring it back. We have a lot of comments too. All right.
Because I heard early on as well, I heard that there was, um, and this is rumor, that Dylan supposedly heard people rummaging around upstairs and that they were looking for something. It sounded like they were looking for something. So, and that, once they found the bodies the next day, that you could see that the house had been rummaged through, like they were searching for. And I think this is where the drug, can I say drug? Well, I already did, but this is where the drug theory came in, is because they speculated that they were looking for the drugs or they were looking for money. Um, so I believe this is where all that ties in, is because of the noise that she heard. And when she heard them rummaging around upstairs, that's where she said, "Hey, you need to shut the up. I'm trying to sleep." And that was also in a Reddit post, I think I read it at, where she supposedly yelled upstairs, "Hey, you need to shut the F up. I'm trying to sleep." Have you heard of any of that?
Okay, so where I've heard of it from is WSU Mom Kim, and she was referencing accounts she had heard early on. And then the other place I heard about it was the other night in a live stream. AR did an entire segment on it. It would be kind of fascinating to pull up. I just don't know the timestamp, but he basically said he broke down why he believed that the kitchen had been ransacked, how all
Mm-hmm.
the drawers had been pulled out. It looks like
Yeah.
something had been pulled out of the sink or something. So he had said it looked like it had been ransacked. And then he also talked about, well, if there's visible blood stains in the kitchen, then that means that something probably happened in the kitchen. Others have speculated it could have been something coming from upstairs, but he said it wouldn't, he broke it down. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's where else I've heard it. It was my point. So.
I think also, since you're talking about the kitchen, one of the pictures had like the cabinet by the refrigerator had some reddish substance going down it, and it was early on where they were speculating that that might have been blood. And I think that's where that all ties in together, as
Mhm.
what you're talking about is the cabinet right there by the refrigerator. When they took a picture from the outside, you could see kind of a brownish substance going down the cabinet. I'd heard later on that that was chemicals that they used um, to put on the cabinets, but you just never know. It could have been blood.
Well, I've seen what I thought was blood spatter in a couple pictures, but yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. We have in that, we'll go back to the tour afterwards too, because when I show you those missing pictures, one thing it just made me think of this when you were talking is they have some interesting photographs in there of what it would look like with the lights off. So you can see like exactly how the room looks with the good vibes sign and exactly how much light is being let through. So remind me if I don't bring it up when we bring up that tour again and we go through those when I finally download what I'm trying to download. We'll go over that again. Let me take this
Okay,
picture.
no problem.
And all right, so this is about a 3-minute clip. And let's see, present.
I'm over here tripping because I'm usually on the left hand side. It's just throwing me off.
Maybe I
You know
can.
what you know what I'm talking about?
Hold on. I
I
wonder
mean,
if I could do that. Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh, that.
I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm just like trying to get used to it. It's cool. It's cool.
I don't know what I did. Okay, there we go.
That's fine right there.
Well, this is if anyone wants to go back to my website, my channel and find it, this is the video. And the clip that we're playing starts right here at 4:48. And let's see, it goes until, so this is going to be close to a 5-minute clip, you guys. But it's worth it, and it's my clip, so. I have Get a Clue in this video too. If you guys miss him, I give a whole thing on him. All right, here we go. And VPN. I want to bring up this article from the Medium, and I'm going to read from this article, and then we're going to tie it back to a very recent soundbite posted on Bubbly Water's channel. So this article is titled "IDAHO4 Murder Solved by 4chan Users, a Deep Dive." And we're not going to read the entire article. I'm mainly going to focus on 4chan, the FBI, and something called weaponized autism. The author of this piece is a professional blogger, and this is, as far as I can tell, her only post on the Idaho 4. It was posted before the arrest affidavit, and so that's what makes it even more fascinating. I'm sure that you've heard the criminal psychologist propose that a killer will return to the crime scene. Well, in the digital age, a thread on an anonymous forum about your crime is the new version of that. And then the author shows us a few of the 4chan posts and writes, these are thread on an anonymous forum about your crime is the new version of that. Okay, 12. I just want to bring us back on stage. So you said you hadn't seen some of the 4chan posts. Now these are very graphic. So
I have seen this one.
Okay, so I just didn't know. All right, we're gonna take that off the screen then. And then the author shows us a few of the 4chan posts and writes, these are messages that would eventually give the detectives the name of the suspect. Not only did the poster know the details of the crime scene that only the police would know, but he also stated that he was hiding in Pennsylvania, where he was arrested. And now I'm just going to jump around here and we're going to talk about the weaponized autism. Weaponized autism is an expression referring to the impressive capabilities of socially awkward, tech-savvy internet users, typically associated with those who frequent the image boards like 4chan. Don't forget, a 4chan autistic cracked the case. How? There was body cam footage that the cops released from the night of the murders. The footage was taken at almost the same time as the slayings occurred, and at the distance, a white car near the house was noticed, and the cops were at the same time harassing some kids for booze and writing $500 tickets. Someone on the internet, not the cops, said, hey, what's the deal with that white car? Then later, a chick at a gas station nearby had a video of it speeding away. Okay, and this is where things get considerably interesting. So the alleged killer, Brian Kohlberger, was found because his phone was hooked to a Bluetooth in the white Elantra at a Highway 6 gas station. His phone just happened to be on 4chan at the time because he was posting horrific details about the crime on a thread about the murders. He connected through public Wi-Fi because your phone will Okay, I'm going to pause this right here because I just want to say to the live stream, everything we're hearing right now, This is like the only place I've really ever heard it, except for the viral TikTok star that comes on after this. So I
Yeah,
just want
I've read this before.
you have?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, have
Yeah.
you?
Yes, I have.
All right, so I guess two of us have heard it before.
Yeah, I've read this before.
Thank you for validating 12.
You're welcome.
Always search for connections if your Wi-Fi feature is turned on. And cell tower networks it's near. It does this to constantly know its location. So whenever you need a cell tower, you have one. And whenever you want to use Google Maps or whatever, it doesn't take 5 minutes for your phone to jack into the correct GPS network. Okay, so this is one of the lines I really want to focus on. This means that they found the poster after he kept jumping VPNs while posting on the 4chan Idaho slasher thread. The author goes on to say that the FBI most likely owns the 4chan servers, and at the very least, everything posted on there is monitored by the feds and has been for at least the last decade or so. So, if the FBI owns these 4chan servers, well, just really quickly on VPNs typically can protect your anonymity online. However, there are backdoor ways to figure out who you are via Wi-Fi and your search history through your ISO provider. Okay, and now I'm going to pull up a soundbite from Bubbly Waters channel that was recently posted. This soundbite comes from a TikTok personality who has about 100,000 followers, millions and millions of views. She doesn't typically post, or she doesn't post at all about the IDAHO4. She's typically music and politics, but that's what makes this clip particularly interesting. It went viral. She was told to take it down. Let's just hear in her own words.
That the posts that were speculated, that they were speculating that Brian had potentially posted on 4chan Reddit, that in fact is confirmed that it was him doing that, like talking about the murders and stuff like that, and giving out information of how in fact the suspect, Brian K., how he was in fact arrested, how that information got to police. Because so many tips were coming into the police, this one ended up being a pretty reliable source in that they gave information that nobody could possibly know except them. And I have never even made one video about the Idaho murders. I was pretty content in watching other people's TikToks, just getting like facts and speculation from other creators. So anyway, I really don't care who thought it was real or fake or not. It's just, I fell into the live. I thought it was important information for other people to know, and I released it. So yeah, crazy stuff. Took him down. That's fine. No problem. I'll take him down.
So that was a super interesting soundbite, and I'd love to hear your comments below. So with that,
this was such an interesting video, and I had to stop making these videos because somebody yelled at me for making videos in my car. But this was such an interesting video. This is back when I was making, anyway, I tied in a motive theory at the end of this that has to do with Kylie Jenner, but I don't want to bore you guys with it. All right, let's take this down. So anyway, that was kind of my segment on 4chan I wanted to bring up.
I do remember the Idaho slasher. I do. And that's when it led into the inside looking. Those two were simultaneous.
I didn't know they were simultaneous. That's interesting.
Hmm?
I didn't know they were simultaneous. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that a little bit.
Yes. But the Idaho slasher was very, very out there in the very beginning like that. He was posting that kind of stuff. I do remember reading that.
The Idaho slasher, I might not be 100% familiar with the post. The Idaho slasher I thought was, and I'm sorry, you guys, it was so long ago. I thought it was a thread on Reddit. But maybe you'll have to have me on your live stream and go into that with me in depth sometime. 12. I'd love to know more about that too.
I mean, I think it's different based on what media profile or what social media platforms that he was posting on. Like one would have been Reddit, one would have been 4chan, one would have been that other one, Fratanon. Do you remember hearing about Fratanon? That was another social media platform that a lot of these individuals were posting on, but they were thinking it was Brian that was posting on these sites about the murders. Kind of like what you said, the killer always returns back to the scene of the crime. So piggybacking on that, that's what I'm taking from what you're presenting right now is that Brian was posting on these social media platforms as a way of kind of bragging about the crime.
Or a way to virtually, in this day and age, return to the scene of the crime. And I guess if I
Yeah,
was to really put into words what I'm getting at is we're all speculating, how did they find BK?
yeah, yeah.
And how did they make that connection? And we've only heard people alluding to it, in court. And I thought this comment from Susan was spot on. How does this woman know how they got BK's name and AT doesn't know? And we don't know. We don't know why she posted this. And so, maybe one of the next steps I could do is try reaching out to the author if I can retrieve the Medium article again. You said you've seen it, 12, so maybe it's still out there
Yeah.
somewhere. Maybe it's been reposted. So that's a
Yes,
great
I
question.
have seen it.
The only other time I've heard of people coming out and saying where they got their inside information was close to the source. So let's say Annie Elise, she said she had friends. She was friends with the wife of an FBI agent. And
Hmm.
although she got it wrong with the knife sheath, she knew about the knife sheath before any of us.
Yes.
So that's, she got it wrong about where it was located, but she knew about it. And
Also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Um, Go ahead and finish what you were going to say.
um the other times I can think where they've said similar things is Howard Bloom has brought that up, and he said that he heard information from authorities, and also News Nation claims they heard from authorities that Ethan's best friend was the one who found him, and that the call for the unconscious person was just a standard unconscious person is how they labeled everything. So there have been accounts of people close to the case who have been leaked to. This would be a major league leak, though. And so it would be interesting to find out if she just heard that online or she doesn't cite her sources.
Also heard that the rideshare driver
Mhm.
who lived, I think, 1,000 feet from Brian's residence, that he supposedly gave a tip about Brian. His wife, kind of like the other guy, that Christian Martinez guy, for some reason their wives didn't like Brian at all, based on the interviews, and they thought he was creepy. He was kind of out there. But I had heard early on that the rideshare driver had gave a tip about Brian because of the Elantra and everything else. So I don't know how credible that is, but I had heard very early on about that.
You know, I need to. I think I'm beginning to learn some of the gaps in the case where I've never studied. One of them was the Grub truck, and I was just content watching like Go to London or different people break down the things that they found in it, not going and looking for myself. But now I want to go back and check these timestamps. I actually do want to look for myself, and yeah, so that's one of the places I want to explore. I don't remember what my point was, but
Right. Right.
you're saying.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting when you go back and you reread things and you find interviews, on Reddit and 4chan and all that stuff. Because I've read a lot of those forums and from the past, and you know, like they say in investigations, you hear a lot of things in the very beginning of a crime that could be very well true. It just based on reading between the lines, like part of the story could be true. They just changed the names, and those names aren't true. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And these early accounts, I hear, I won't say just absolutely, I completely agree with you. And that's why when I had the opportunity to actually talk to WSU Mom Kim, I was like, absolutely, because even though, to me, I'm content in who I think Kim is. And I just thought it was interesting. Even if you just told me, it doesn't matter what the rumor was. If you just say, okay, was that word on the street? Did you get that from, the officer? Did you get that from the kids in their Snapchats? Like, it's just interesting to know what was the word on the street. What was the impression? She was actually also able to give some um, kind of different speculation that was going on about Kopaka, which was interesting too. So I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. And some of the first speculations about Bethany seeing someone upstairs or having exculpatory evidence, the reason we know that were from the first accounts. And of course, Richard Batanti is leaked to the Mirror in the UK.
Yeah, and I spoke about the exculpatory on the live that I did a while ago. Not necessarily her exculpatory, but basically outlining what exculpatory evidence really is, you know. But on WSU, Mom Kim and Dot and Dave, um, always thought this, okay? How could somebody sit down, unless they're a professional writer,
Oh God.
a crime story writer, sit down and write out a story that matches pretty much what the PCA says, but it gives more detail? How could that happen? How could three people have such information? And I'm not saying they're credible. I'm not saying they're not credible. I'm just saying people are so quick to debunk because they don't want, it's almost like they don't want any kind of information that everybody's screaming for, but they don't want information that could be viable and real. Does that make sense?
Oh God, 100%. And I've seen it in some creators too, where they're just unopen to listening and at least listening to the people that are trying to talk. And I think it's because they've been burnt in the past. I mean, we're not bringing up. I mean, all you have to do is search. You're going to find that there's a long history of people doing trolling and shenanigans in the true crime community, and it's kind of something you stumble into when you first start out. But so I think a lot of people have been burnt in the past, and they don't want to be open to listening to new stories. But you have to. If we all are asking, why is nobody talking? Why is nobody coming forward? So when somebody does talk or come forward, just listen to what they have to say and make your own opinions, form your own opinions, make your own judgments. There's so many comments since you've been saying that too.
But in reality, I mean, what's different in somebody telling you something and it turns out not to be true? At least you gave them the benefit of the doubt. What if part of their story turns out to be true? I mean, some of these people were saying stuff way before the PCA came out. So how did they have that information? Like Dot eventually said that she was repeating somebody else's story who was scared to come out and share what she knew, which makes a lot of sense. You know? I mean, a lot of people have been scared, and Kim was saying the same thing for a lot of years, a lot of time. That people were scared. People were scared. People were scared. They didn't want to talk. That's why she was talking, because she wanted to be heard, and she wanted the story to be heard to protect future instances from it happening. I mean, whether that's true or whether that's not, I mean, at least one person stepped up to the plate and was wanting to be heard,
you're reflecting all my sentiments. And then somebody in the chat had said, well, Dot has been debunked. It's a person named Brandon. It's actually, his name is Braden. And that debunking came after when I had spoke with WSU mom Kim, but what Kim had said, and which was really interesting, and she goes, I've heard the whole story of what's going on. I've seen the evidence that this person showed some alleged receipt. They had gone to authorities, but what she said was interesting, and she goes, regardless of what's going on, regardless of this person is fake, a prank, or real, this person said the same things that I heard early on. Where did she get that information? And Kim repeated that twice. She goes, where did she get that information? I mean, she didn't say it like I'm saying it. She said it sweeter, but I thought that was interesting because yes, we all know where we're at with the Dot story, but Kim did say that. And I thought that was interesting that she had information that Kim hadn't. She just said, how did she know that?
I mean, based on what exculpatory evidence is, if Dot's story is anywhere true, that is exculpatory.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were back there smoking weed and Bethany saw them, that's information specific to her. That's exculpatory. That's exculpatory.
I don't know.
That wasn't said. It's two conflicting stories about what happened. So if Dylan didn't state that they were out there smoking weed, and that is true, then that could be enough to get him off if it was not shared.
The thing is she didn't specify which information was similar. So I don't know if it's the whole story or just, again, one of those reasons why I always wish I had a chance to ask her follow-up questions because there's just still so many unanswered questions. But yeah, I think I've delved into the Dot thing so deep. I probably should leave that subject alone. I probably dove into it enough for all of us. So I'll tell you more about that sometime, 12. But
okay.
All right, I'm going to present this screen here, and I'm glad Mikey is in the audience because Mikey, you didn't give me the story. I made this story out of you. So my mod, Mikey, had sent me this tour, the one that I was just showing you, which I'm going to show you again. And I'm just going to show you the features of this tour. So we've got the outside. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. We've got that outside of the house. But if you go through, you have on the website, there are legends. But when I click on them, they don't show up there. All right, we've got first floor. Well, let me keep going on. There's some cool features about this, but I'm going to show you if you can't quite see. So if you can see at the bottom, the little square that's highlighted, there's some red writing in that. And what it is people had actually put place marks in there. So they had actually lined up the PCA with actual icons inside the room. So you can still see them at the bottom, but they're not there anymore and you can't click on them. So I'll read you a couple of these things. So I'll show you the screenshots that he sent me. So there were spots in each room that described the quotes that were directly taken from the PCA. Some of them they had the latent shoe print in front of Dylan's room. Yeah. Previously, you could turn the lights on and off. There are a couple slides in them, but you can't actively do it. I checked before we came on. Xana's room actually had a link in it that brought you to Facebook Marketplace with a bunch of her listings, and I have some screenshots of that too. And
can I say something right quick?
Yeah.
When you were showing the stairs leading up from Bethany's room, I always thought, I thought both of them were downstairs at the very beginning. We were told, I don't know where I heard it, but for some reason I I figured both roommates were at the bottom of the stairs right there. But then we found out that Dylan was on the second floor. I always figured, what if Bethany came out of her room, went up those stairs, and actually saw more than what was said in the PCA? What if her exculpatory evidence is evidence that wasn't shared in the PCA? What if it's stuff that's going to be said in the trial? What if the evidence that she the exculpatory, and what if I'm what ifing to death here? I usually don't do this on my channel, but I'm what ifing to death here. What if what she what they're withholding is the discovery of her exculpatory evidence? What if that's what the prosecution is not giving the defense? And I also thought one more thing, and then I'll let you present what you're going to present. I'm sorry. What if, here we go with what if again. What if Xana had a stalker? We've never been told one way or the other. What if, part of the reason the dad changed the lock is because she felt unsafe with so many people in the house? What if she had a stalker?
These are really good questions. I mean, I guess I haven't really thought about that much, but it would be interesting to like have that in the back of your mind and kind of go through her social media and under that premise and under that context and see. And the world is mine says, I think MPD was stalking the whole house. A lot of people have said the same thing. Oh, there's so many good comments. Well, let me bring this up just because I have some of the, so you can see this photo when you go to the virtual tour. And this photo shows up at the bottom, just like the bed I was showing you that had the red writing. These show up, but when you click on them, it's completely blank. So I'm going to show you that. And then let me one more time add this and I'll go to the photo. Just so you guys know, I'm not completely making this up. And this is the photo right here. When I click on it, that's what you see. And that's versus this. So that's what you see at the bottom. But when you click on it, you see that. And then I have some slides here. So the next one, so these are some of the original screenshots that are kind of like, you can see up here, I've kind of blown it up. You can see what used to be there. There were all different things you could click on that were lined up with the PCA. And again, they're all scrubbed. And I mean, I'm not saying there's anything nefarious going on. It's just, well, why? Is it because the PC isn't irrelevant? I just opened the windows and now I've got like a blast of air coming from here. And then let me show the next slide here. So this is Xana's marketplace listing. Again, I don't know if this is what this is, if this is a clue. I just thought you guys would find this relevant and I wanted to show you. These are some of the things she had listed on Facebook. So, and then here's another close up.
Do we know if she ever sold that bed? Or if that was the bed that they removed from the house?
I don't know. I know that it was suggested in posts from Xana's sister-in-law that they were found on the bed. So I don't know. But I know there's a bed in there from what my understanding was.
Because when they loaded that one mattress on the back of the truck, it looked like just one mattress. It didn't look like two mattresses together. It looked like, what would that be, a queen right there or a full?
I think that's a twin, but I don't know.
That one right there?
I don't know.
I don't know, but the angle looks maybe like a full size. I don't know. I think it's a little bigger than a twin.
You think so?
Yeah, it says full mattress right there. Full.
Oh, well, let me take my comment.
Full mattress. So I wonder if she ever sold it. Like if she was able to sell it or she kept it. If so, that would have been the bed that was loaded up in the back of the truck.
I mean, I'm just looking to see if I can see a date on those. And I actually have the photos of them removing them from the crime scene. But again, it's one of those things where I don't want you guys to wait while I go grab it and download it. But oops, that's for the next thing.
I gave you a wrench, Truth. You don't want it? I'll take it off tomorrow if you don't want it.
I have 5 mods I need to add, and I love all of you. And I'm sorry if I haven't added your wrenches yet, but it's just because I was studying so hard for this live stream. I thought I'd read a couple of these comments because it seems like people have some really insights for us. So let's go with this one. Some accounts describe Xana as being found on the floor inside the locked doorway, and Ethan on the bed where the blood went through the floor to the cement visible outside on the foundation. And then we have one saying, intriguing to me how no connection means my DNA is on the knife sheet under the deceased stabbed victim. What does AT consider a connection? But how did the police get to him? Because that DNA, because if it comes from the IgG, what's going to end up happening is they're going to fight it, and they're going to try to have the IgG thrown out, because IgG isn't meant, it's just meant to be a tip. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they honed in on him. It seems like Dylan would have had to use the restroom outside Xana's bedroom. So if the door was closed and locked, that could explain why Dylan saw no blood on the floor in the front of the bedroom. That's a really good comment, Silent Murmur.
You know, when you were referencing that FBI or the lady that had a husband who was law enforcement or whatever earlier, that article, Annie Elise said in her live that the knife sheath was first found under Ethan.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, and a lot of people said, oh, well, that kind of makes it so her reports are inaccurate. But to me, it was like, well, how did she even know anything about a knife sheath? Like, yes, the information wasn't perfect, but it was third-hand information, and it was a lot more accurate than a guess. You know, so I thought anyway.
Yeah. I mean, how could you know this stuff way before the PCA came out? Because I didn't know about a knife sheath until I read it in the PCA. Did you?
I don't remember when I heard about the knife sheath, but I think I did hear people talking about it before. But it depends on. Okay, so here's the thing: is when I study Papa Rogers, this is a debate that keeps coming up. So, and I could bring up the post, but he states something about the knife sheath, saying that he think they found the knife sheath. And I remember hearing in the Thought Riot podcast before, they were going over that, and they actually found one other place where it was cited in a news outlet, a speculation about a knife sheath, just to show that it was not just him, like other people had mentioned it. So I can't say that it was the first time I heard it, but I've seen evidence that it was posted in other places before. So Papa Rogers and then that news outlet, but I've only seen the two places.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was general knowledge or not.
Yeah, that's what Okie Granny says they have found the sheath. They must have found the sheath. That's what Papa Roger says.
Gosh, we have so many comments. I'm sorry. I'm still behind. Wondering. This one says, I heard you, but I'm wondering why test the sheaths, which would seem extremely important, and then say the DNA is the person that for sure is innocent and proves no connection. Do you understand the question a little?
I guess they're asking why test the sheath, which is important, and then say the DNA is not important and the person's innocent. If you found the DNA of the person who is locked up right now. I guess that's what they were meaning. I don't know.
And then this is kind of PKC kind of just is reflecting my sentiments. A typical phone game. Every time the story is shared, it gets words twisted, missed, and added. And that's the way I thought. And that's why when we hear this word on the street or these early accounts, it's not like we need to take their words literally as fact. Is that there might be some things in there that come from the truth, but it's just like PKC says right here. It's a typical game of phone. Every time the story is shared, it gets little words twisted, missed, or added. So
We're talking about the bathroom on the second floor, Jeff, not the first one. I understand the first floor had the shower curtain.
like he says, I strongly believe she went downstairs, eventually to the bottom floor, and that explains why some accounts say Dylan and Bethany yelled upstairs. And I strongly believe too that that's the case. What about you, 12? By the way, the PC is worded.
Did you say Dylan would have used the bathroom on the second floor or Bethany?
Oh, I was thinking about where they ended up, but I don't remember. The bathroom. They were saying that Dylan would have not had to go by Xana's room to use the bathroom, so she wouldn't have walked by Xana's room. Is that the quote you were talking about? 12?
Yes. Cause Jeff was thinking you said Bethany because she would have went to her own bathroom downstairs. As soon as you open the door, there's a bathroom right there with a
Yeah.
black and white shower curtain.
Well, if I misspoke, I'm sorry, but thank you,
Yeah.
Jeff.
It was
So in the PCA, I totally agree, and I've actually, who else agrees is the lawyer. He said when you read that PCA and it says where Dylan was originally. I mean, what else could that mean? It means that that's not where she was in the end. This was where she
yeah.
was originally. And I mean, he's like, it's plain English, what else? That's what it means. I mean, so I tend to agree.
Do you believe that Dylan went downstairs after she saw the masked guy?
Yes, I
She
do.
went down to Bethany's room?
I think so. I think she spent the night in Bethany's room, but that's just pure speculation for everyone watching. It's just,
I've heard that too.
and I think that was kind of like when we had the original accounts before everything was gagged and the PCA was talking. I just remember everybody always kind of bringing that up in chats and stuff. And I think that maybe we all changed our mind when we read the PCA. Yeah, a lot of people feel the same way about Yanni.
Can I highlight? Oh, I can't highlight chat.
Well, tell me which one you want. Tell me the timestamp.
The last one, Truth Exposed.
Okay. You want to read it?
Since, since Kaylee was moving out, wouldn't the next girl in line have dibs on the better room? Wouldn't that have been Xana?
It wouldn't have. Well, Bethany probably. I mean, not Bethany. Maddie wouldn't have want to move from her room because she had a really nice location. I've heard this before. Lana from Truth and Transparency went into this in detail. If I remember correctly, Dylan was the one who was going to be moving up to Maddie's room. And I'm sure the internet will correct us in a second.
Okay.
Do you guys know who was supposed to be moving into Kaylee's room? I really think it was Dylan. It's just, gosh, it's been a long time since I've.
But wouldn't that? I don't know. Like, who was older, Dylan or Xana? Wasn't Dylan 19?
I think they were the same age. I don't know.
Because if Dylan was 19 and Bethany was 19, Xana was 20, so she would have been the next one in line. Unless she didn't want to move up there and she liked her room. Then it might have been Dylan because Bethany was the newest one in the house, right?
Yeah. So she wouldn't have first dibs on that. I'm going to go back. Every time we do these live streams, I end up taking so many notes, but I'm going to go back and see. I do remember the live stream where Lana talks about it because she was evaluating a photograph of Kaylee and Dylan inside Kaylee's room because Dylan was Kaylee's little sister. It's sorority little sister, you guys. And
I would think their age would matter because of the year they were in college. Like, I mean, like you wouldn't be 20 as a freshman, and I mean, I was just thinking along that line. That's why I was using their age. Because Kaylee was a senior, so she would have been graduating, right?
Kaylee?
Yes.
Yes.
She was a senior.
Yes.
Maddie was a junior. Xana was a what? Junior?
She must have been a junior. No.
And Ethan was a freshman still.
I'm not going to speak on it because anything I say is a guess, so I'm not really contributing much. So I'm not going to, this is a good questions that I should know the answer to. They're just so basic, and I'm actually kind of embarrassed I don't have that. And then this question from...
Good night, Carla.
What was that? Oh, good night, Carla. So I thought Kaylee was the last one to move in. Am I wrong? To be with Maddie? I mean, Kaylee was in the process of moving out. We know that. So I don't know. And then the other one, Mikey said, I saw it up here. I wish I had started.
Nina says Xana took Ashlyn's room. So Ashlyn graduated the May before. So Xana took her room. So Xana was probably downstairs in the first room, and she moved upstairs. Oh, okay, psych. That makes sense. She said age doesn't matter in post-COVID college.
Age doesn't matter in post-COVID college?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a good comment. Heard Kay moved in August, Xana in September. All right. Well, so we have 2 more segments. I'm going to do my, oops, why did I pull that up? So the next segment.
Some interesting stuff you're presenting tonight. Whoa. Like we're going like an hour and something right now.
I actually am surprised we've been talking for so long. I thought we'd zip right through these segments, but I think what it is that you definitely have like that investigative eye. Like you pick apart the pictures I present, and I love that. I love having you on the show, 12. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, let me get my syllabus out here, guys. So the next thing I'm going to do is I have to debunk, or I have to make a retraction for some of the reporting I've done in the past. And so what I'd like to do is actually play you the clip of how I've misreported this, because it's what our general understanding was on the internet. I got my information from Chronicles of Libya, who got it right from the source, who was Olivia Gonzalez. And so let me present my screen here. It's like the most horrible angle of me. Oh my God.
Your puppy's like looking at you from the back seat.
I believe that the writing is on the wall.
So this my computer is like, hello. All right. So let's go to my videos. Actually, let me go to my playlists here. And it's this video. Let me just see. The timestamp is 13:28. And you know what? If you guys don't know what we're looking at here, I might as well just explain, because this is, I feel like, me personally, through my sources, through everything I've studied, I believe this photo is very important. It's actually the thumbnail to this live stream. And I'm going to show you, I used, I brought this, excuse me, I brought this, hold on one second.
You all right?
I put this photo into Canva, and I used one of their features, and I actually erased that little white arrow somebody put there, and I put new arrows in that actually point to her name. So let me show you this. I think I might have showed you this picture before, 12, have I?
Yes, I saw that.
All right, so we've got Kaylee's name and her sorority and which branch. So that picture right there that is taken from Kaylee's 21st birthday actually reveals, I mean, not where she's staying, but at least where you can find her and where you could track her down online and physically. And if anything, it might just be a warning to girls, to young girls, maybe don't write your name and address on a wall. This was taken at the Coog at Wasu, which is a really popular bar and hangout, and it's about 3 minutes from BK's apartment at the Stepping Stone Apartments, or yeah, Stepping Stone Apartments. So anyway, let me move on. And
What is sad is, if you were keeping tabs on somebody, they posted so much on so many platforms that you could literally just figure out their patterns. Like they like to go to bars on Friday night, they like to go to bars on Saturday nights, they were at home on Sundays, messing around, whatever, based on their pictures. If you were developing a pattern of stalking, I mean, that would be an easy way to do it. You just look through all of their social media and you could develop a pattern of who's home at what time, where at, you know.
I think I can elaborate on what you're saying actually. So I'm going to show you this photo right here. So this is the logo for Be Real, which is a really popular app with this age group. And I know that because I have 4 nephews. Actually, I have 6 nephews who are in this age group. And by far the ones that are younger, like in the college age, they love this app. And if you don't know what it is, I'm just going to explain it to you guys. Is you get, so I don't have it, but you get 1 photo a day, and you can either take it from the front or the back, but it tags you and it shows your location and it shows where you are. And aside from that, you can still be active on the app. I mean, you can post as many pictures as you want, but the one Be Real photo a day. Anyway, let me show a picture to you what I'm getting at. So we know Kaylee was actually using that app. I have, let me put this back on stage. I think I have the pictures right here. Yeah, right here. So in this picture, you can see that that's taken at the Corner Club that night. There's Kaylee and Maddie like hours before the crime. And we don't know whose phone that is, but it was posted. You can see on the other side. So you exchange pictures with someone. So those are the boys on the other side who was exchanged with this. But again, that's not them. But if you look at the upper right-hand picture, now I'm going to show that timestamp when we get to Jeff H's Grub truck. It's anyone looking for it, it's timestamp 1421. And if you look at it closely, it does not look like she's taking a selfie. And everyone says, oh, she's either taking a selfie. Some people say, oh, she's taking a picture of Maddie with her habanero. But to me, the way this picture is taken and just what I know, I speculate this is her taking a Be Real picture at the Grub truck. And if
I've never even seen this picture before.
Oh, I'm planning on going into it. That'll be our first timestamp we look at when we get to the Grub truck. But I'm gonna tell you right now, like I've speculated from when I got this picture at the Corner Club, I instantly saw when I saw that the Grub truck, thought it looked like somebody showing a Be Real picture. So, but I mean, things we'll find out at trial because this is going to be in the metadata. So. But yeah, we're gonna definitely get into.
Are they wearing the same clothes in that picture as they're wearing right there at the Grub truck?
Mm-hmm. These are all the same night. Oh well, let's look what we can see. All right, so I do have this photo. I can pull up bigger. Let me upload it real quick. All right, so I have one without the writing on it. Let's see.
Mods in my chat, if you give them a warning and they're still disrespectful, go ahead and time them out or block them based on the severity. Don't put up with anything.
Oh, I hope everyone's being civil in my chat. I'm not reading what's going on in the chat right now. So
I'm not either, so I just wanted to put that out there.
So this is a bigger picture. This is the biggest one I have without the writing on it. So it looks like Maddie. It looks like she's wearing a gray sweatshirt in here, but I can't tell. But at least we know it's a darker color. And I mean, I don't know how many details I see on Kaylee's, but it's definitely the same color. Now let's look at the Grub truck.
Well, Maddie looks like she had that black jacket on right there, unless that's part of the phone.
Yeah, I
You
think
see
no.
where her hair is?
Yeah.
Are they in the bathroom?
I think that they got their beers. No, it looks like it's a table. It looks like they got their beers on the table. I have the boys. Let's pull up their picture. Because this is literally within the same exact second. So we can see them. I mean, just looking at it from a different angle, you might be able to see her clothes a little bit better.
Right.
What are they saying in there?
No, I was looking at it sideways because it was sideways, and now you put it upright.
I make you dizzy. And then here's a picture of the Grub truck.
I wonder if they were able to find all those photos in her phone.
I mean, let's hope so.
Hopefully they went to the cloud, you know?
All right. Well, let's pull this back up, and I'm going to play this segment. And again, we're debunking something right now. I have more updated information. This comes from my mod, Heather. Heather, I love all the information you send me. Thank you for everything you do. 1328.
Where is Heather? I only see Twizzle.
I haven't heard from her all day, and I'm really worried. So if anyone sees Heather on the YouTube streets, tell her we're asking about her, please.
Yeah, I haven't seen her all day either.
Yeah, so I am a little worried, but thank you for telling me that. I'm going to have to look into that more when I get off the stream.
Kaylee Gonzalez's sister Olivia shares with me something she found disturbing on the day of the murders. Here's a screenshot of Kaylee's LinkedIn account. Notice how Kaylee's account was active at 11:33 p.m. on November 13th. This was 12 hours after the 911 call was made, and her account was deactivated.
The content is unwanted or harmful. But I mean, obviously, I didn't open it.
Olivia also shows me an email where she messaged Moscow PD and asked them why they deleted Kaylee's LinkedIn. They replied and said it was illegal for them to do that, and it was not them. So the big question is, who was logged into Kaylee's LinkedIn, and why was it deleted? Kaylee had other social media accounts. Why her LinkedIn? It just doesn't make sense. What do you think?
Was recently posted. This soundbite comes from a TikTok.
So I'm going to stop there. So anyway, that was the original. That was the original information I had got from Chronicles of Olivia. And so I'm going to show.
Asked me what I thought. I think Olivia's hot.
Well, I tried to find her most professional. I made those thumbnails. Thank you, everybody. But you know, when I make a thumbnail of someone, I do what I would hope they do for me, and like try and find the nicest pictures. And I found those beautiful shots of her. It looks like they were taken by a professional photographer because they were in like high definition. So I made that thumbnail. I just wanted to try and change it around. I didn't want to just share her content. So I tried to put a little artistic twist on it. So thank you for saying that, because I picked all those pictures out and I'm sure she appreciates that.
So do you think, so you were saying that's been debunked, like it wasn't deleted, or it was?
Well, let me tell you what I found, and then you guys can decide for yourself. And again, I didn't find it. We're going to give credit to Heather here. And it's so on this post, you know, you guys can't see it really well, so I'm going to read it to you. So above, they're showing a screenshot of the actual LinkedIn's page that explains that when that green light comes on, it's just that you can post a message. And below it, Sammy Joe says, Olivia posted on another group a while ago saying that she was incorrect regarding the active status. It didn't actually mean that she was currently active. And then a lot of people reiterated it. And that was the receipt that they brought, was they actually brought something from LinkedIn suggesting how those live buttons work and look. So I just thought, I'm not debunking or anything, but I'm just giving you guys the information. You do what you want with it. You research to your
Right.
best knowledge. But these are the two. This is my latest information I wanted to bring you guys.
Okay.
Anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's pretty cut and dry, or?
I mean, I don't really get on LinkedIn a lot, but I have an account, but I do notice that whenever other people are online, it does have that little green button lit up. So I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, it could be like the one on Facebook. The one on Facebook, it shows you active, and you could be asleep, and just because you bumped your phone, it shows you active. I don't know how accurate it really is.
I don't either. And I don't know if you unlocked your phone. Like, I don't know what would prompt it, but maybe this is a jumping off point where one of us could do a little more deep dive on that and see what can we find out. Does somebody have a LinkedIn account? I mean, I have a LinkedIn too, but I never use it. It's more professional networking.
Did the police have the phone at that point? I mean, they could have been um, downloading all the apps, and it could have deleted her app or something at that point, and that's why it happened. I mean, maybe they weren't being nefarious about it. Maybe they were just downloading information, and at that point, it took that app.
Well, I mean,
And
oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. What were you finish yours?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying what I had speculated on is if you just look at the exact wording, it's not eliminating that maybe the FBI could have been in there. It's saying that we don't have, that'd be illegal for us to do that, but it doesn't eliminate other resources that might have been doing that. The other thing I speculated on in that video, and I'm not bringing it up tonight, but just while we're going over all speculation, I'll bring it up. I don't want to use the word stalker, but there could have been, my suggestion is there could have been some surveillance there, because how was it when that phone was still part of the crime scene that all of a sudden at 12 hours after that 911 call, it goes live? And if you don't know the story, Olivia was driving from LA up to Rathdrum, to her family's place in Rathdrum. While she was driving, her phone was set to alerts to Kaylee's social media, and the alert went off for LinkedIn. Okay, so she picked up the phone. She saw it was green. She pulls over. By the time she pulls over, the account was deleted. So I get that we are doing some debunking here, but there's still some weird ass things going on with that LinkedIn account.
Right.
If the
I
phone,
mean, it would have been nice to know if, like, her Facebook or her Instagram or anything else was online at the same time. Does that make sense? Like, did all the social media like go away at the same time, or you know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you can tell somebody. I don't know how LinkedIn works as far as how you can tell somebody delete their account or they block you or whatever. I don't even know if you can block somebody on LinkedIn. I mean, everything has that feature nowadays, so I would assume that you can block people on LinkedIn. I don't know. What do y'all think, chat? Have y'all ever heard of that? Can you block somebody on LinkedIn?
I think you probably can, but I would say the only thing I would say in rebuttal is the way the story was originally presented to us was that Olivia had alerts on her phone for all of Kaylee's social media. And it went off for the link in LinkedIn. She picked up her phone to click on the alert, saw the live screen on LinkedIn. But here's the twist. She pulls over within seconds and the account is deleted. So I just don't even know what to make of this. So, but actually, here's a good question for you, coming from your criminal, your crime scene investigative skills. 12 hours after the 911 call, where they're still investigating the crime scene, would they have removed the electronics by then?
I'm pretty sure they did. Right as soon as they moved the bodies, they start investigating the mobile phones and stuff like that. Like, I mean, the watches and all the electronics. I'm sure that was pretty much probably the first thing that they tagged and bagged as evidence. Because, I mean, in the PCA, it mentioned Xana's phone right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like, they could tell because of her phone. So they were looking for a timeline, and I'm sure they gathered everybody's phones at that point very early on. That way, nothing would be deleted, nothing would be, um, they could tell who was messaging who, because they wanted to preserve the crime scene as it was, rather than to later on try to associate the cell phones and everything with deleted messages and all kinds of stuff. But even if you delete stuff, you can still go in there and find it.
I'm going to just pull this up while we're on the subject, and I'm going to write that down for our Grub truck, which we should probably move on to if we don't want to make this a 3-hour live stream. So
being like Jeff H and I, we just get going and we get going, and before you know it, it's 3 hours, 4 hours.
it happens when you get that energy, and it's fun when it's especially you feel like that when you have such an active live chat like we do. So thank you for everybody who's participating tonight. It
Yeah,
really
thank you.
the program.
Heather's in here, so it's good to see you, Heather. We
All
were
right.
asking about you.
Yes, Heather, I hope you saw everything that we were presenting, your information, just giving some updates. And so I'm writing down this comment. So when we get to the Grub truck and we look at the where I think she was taking the Be Real app, Silent Murmur says it looked like she was taking a selfie there to get a photo of Jack S behind her, who Maddie told to F off.
Yeah.
And so we'll look at that when we get to the Grub truck. So I do have, present my little thingy here again. So I actually wrote down some comments. So Jeff H, sorry, we're kind of doing this off of your page, but Jeff H so kindly lets us use his material, and I'll put a banner up when we get to the actual video. But when I was preparing for this earlier, I actually copied about 7 different comments I thought were interesting with timestamps that I just thought I'd show you guys. But I pulled up this one because I thought this is a nice way to start the Grub truck, because for me, I've never really studied the Grub truck. I'm not trying to add to gossip or bring people's names into something that they're not involved. However, when you think about the Grub truck, you're not being that invasive. This was a known there were 2 live streaming cameras there, and it was in 4, I think. And it was a known place where you'd be seen. And so this was publicly viewed stuff on Twitch. So I don't feel that invasive watching the Grub truck videos. So that was one of the reasons I hesitated before. But I think since it's been brought up by Crime Circus and everyone's talking about it, I think it'd be a good night to explore it. So why I said that is I brought up this comment because I think it's a good thing to read before we get started. And remember, these are just kids who are living their best life, who experienced a horrific crime later that night, and this Grub truck might not mean anything. So I'm going to read this comment because I thought it was sweet first. So, wow, this is the best video of the Grub truck I've seen. Awesome work. I've noticed that JJS, or Hoodie Guy, actually appears to wave at the car to M and K got into as he leaves in the other direction. It's really sweet to see them all laughing and having a good time. There was some chemistry between M and the guy in the 9 shirt, in my opinion. Like everyone else is saying, it's hard to believe that they were gone just a couple of hours after this full of life and fun and footage of them. It's in with the heartbreak. It's hard to read too, but I wanted to start out with that because you want to humanize the situation and not just go, with some of the wild speculations we're allegedly we're about to get into. So
I mean, that's what makes it so hard, Kiki, is I believe that people get so interested in the facts of the case or lack thereof that they forget that 4 people were murdered so violently and so quickly. And we saw the last moments of those 2 lives, and it's tragic to think they were smiling, they were laughing, they didn't seem to be in distress of any kind. You know, hoodie guy was right there with them. Whether he was there for other reasons or whatever, he was still there by their side. And I always thought, like when they ran off from him, I thought, just like the world, I guess, I thought, they're wanting to get away from him because they don't want to be around him. They're wanting to go home. They didn't want him to go with them. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I mean, there's that, and you know, it wasn't her boyfriend, right? So,
right, right.
I mean, yeah. So that's another. Yeah. So, what inspired this clip, I actually should show you guys first, is I'm going to put a little screensaver up before I pull this up, because I didn't just come up with this segment on my own. After I did the drip drop video yesterday, one of my subscribers who watches my live streams and sends me clips on Linda Lane sent me a really interesting clip at the Grub truck just to have me take a look at it and say, what do you think of this? Because there's a girl, and this has been talked about quite often. It's a 2-minute clip, and I'll start with that just because he inspired this segment. We'll watch the whole clip because it's interesting, and it goes into Sweater Guy. Are we frozen? Oh, whoa. It goes into Sweater Guy, but there's a girl who many online have speculated is signaling into the camera. And I just thought we'd open with that clip. So let me put a little screensaver up, and I just don't want to dox him online. So let me just pull up his.
Is that
his
even
video.
harsh?
Yes.
Okay. I always wondered who that was.
Yeah, that was a post when we first learned about Enon. He made that post. Okay. Oh, it's a screen recording. Okay, good. Let me see. Let me pause it. Okay. All right, now I can share my screen. So again, thank you to Dean for, why is this not, oh, there we go. So this doesn't have sound, so we'll just watch. Now, if you can see, he has his cursor and he's pointing out what he wanted us to take a look at.
He's in chat. You want to narrate this for us, Jeff?
Should I send a link for Jeff up? Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, let me invite Jeff. Jeff, we're going to your video next. We know you're the king of the Grub truck footage. This was a screenshot sent to me by my buddy. Okay, so keep watching. Now you can see Kaylee coming into the screen. Now, one thing I will say is what piqued my interest when he sent this to me is I saw on Neek's Peaks, and I never brought it up because it just seemed like a normal thing to me, not that it should be. But there was so obviously a drug deal going on at the Grub truck. And you see the handoff of the money and this, I mean, you see it. I mean, obviously we don't have x-ray vision, but I mean,
Which one was it?
I didn't have time to go find the Neeks Peaks, but I don't want to point out who it was, but I'll see if I can find it. I'm sure somebody in the chat has seen it too. But so when I heard that, and then my subscriber sent this to me saying they saw somebody signaling, and then I shouldn't get.
See, I thought that one guy put something in Maddie's mouth.
Hey, Jeff. Just then? Was that just then that you saw that?
Number 9. Yeah, right there where they're talking. Like right before that, he put something in her mouth. I mean, it looks that way. I don't know if he did or not.
You know, there's a video on my my channel where I show close up of that, and you can see it's just a receipt that he's handing over to the person.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying it looks like he put something in her mouth, but I don't think.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Sure.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm supposed to be working on something, but I'm listening and trying to work at the same time. Not much work is getting done. You guys are too interesting. I just don't want to miss anything.
I have the exact quote right here. So he says, the girl at the end is looking into the camera located on the side of the Grub truck, yelling, telling someone something, in my opinion. And then we went into more details. Hold on, let me go on YouTube. This is a private video between me and Dean. So he says, he's asking me what I thought. Was the girl signaling at the end of the camera? Do I think, do you see the way that Joe and Kaylee was looking at the camera? I just only want to read the relevant stuff. Hold on. The female in the tracksuit got too close to her. There's something in Kaylee's hands.
Yeah, was Kaylee smoking a vape?
Yes,
THC vape?
She absolutely was vaping at the end of that.
Yeah.
THC?
Well,
was that like a cart?
I don't know. We know she went to the vape shop, so we know she did tobacco because they didn't sell THC products at the Grub truck. Jeff, let's pull up your I actually have a playlist with your video.
Before I forget, you know, I think Drip Drop mentioned, you know, was bringing up the guy with the sweater. I guess sweater guy is what we're calling him now.
Sweater man.
And that was kind of saying that he didn't think that he had a bruise on his head at the Grub truck, but he did during that police body cam. But in my Grub truck video, or I don't like to call it my Grub truck, it's just, you know, it's the video that's on my channel. It's 16:10. I think you can get a pretty good glimpse where I think I see the bruise there. So I think it's I think he did have the bruise, like he said, because he told the police officer he's had that bruise a while.
Sweater man gate.
Sweater gate.
Charlie Brown sweater guy.
Yeah.
He's a man. Sweater man.
Charlie Brown.
Yep. Slide down more. Excellent. That's a good spot.
That's what is 16 what?
Yeah, 16:10.
You know, somebody said that was the Dutch Brothers sweater.
One Chipotle. 48.50 for it. Oh yeah, man.
Of course, I zoomed in on a little bit, but I don't think in StreamYard, I don't think you really have the ability to zoom in.
Yep, there it is. You see it?
You see it, right? You see it. I know you see it.
I see, because it's not a shadow, because it's oh, that was funny. Yeah. It's moving. I mean, it doesn't look as much as it is in the picture. I don't know. I never see anything, you guys.
It's hard to see. I mean, it's not great lighting, and there are moments where I'm pretty sure I see it. And unfortunately, when he's over close to the window plate, you know, where they place the order, the only view you get from that camera is like the opposite side of his face as he's walking to where he is now.
I mean, I'd say right about.
But you see, there's a little dark something there on his face. It's not.
Jeff,
and it's right in the exact spot that you can see it in the body cam. So I really think it's. I don't know. I'm thinking.
Jeff H, you're going to tell me that that's a bruise on his forehead when you told me that wasn't a gash on BK's hand? I'm just kidding.
No, that was a shadow. That was
a shadow then, but this isn't a shadow.
I'm almost certain of it.
All right, let's bring it back
I'm
up.
like 90% sure on that one.
Do you have any other close-ups of him that you know off the top of your head?
You know, I mean, there was a moment where I think I punched in to try to get a close-up glimpse of what's his name, Joe Vito's phone, which I think is interesting. You know, I'm convinced that when Joe has his phone, where you can see on his phone, you can see that. I think what Joe is doing is he's taking a video of Sweater Guy's phone. Like Sweater Guy's pulled something up on his phone. Joe is looking at it. So, because as you see Joe move his phone, you can see it move in sync. Like he's definitely got the camera on, and I believe you see Sweater Guy's sweater in Joe's phone. To be honest with you, I can't remember where that happens.
I actually, it's okay because I think I have that timestamp.
Is that in your
fact,
notes?
you'll see when I get there, I actually grab these timestamps off of your page. See, there's your picture right there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, at one point I was trying to make, like, in the description, I was trying to put all these timestamps that people were sharing when they comment on the videos. I tried to, keep up with that, but
Did you say there was a
incomplete.
camera in Joe Vito's Coke can?
Oh yeah, 4K camera, 4K
all
infrared.
right, guys, let's get serious. We're doing some
Makes
serious
cilantras turn green.
Okay.
All right, so this is what I wanted to show first. So, 12 and I had been talking about the Be Real app, and we were talking about this picture, and we were talking about this
21
picture.
is where 2105 is where he does the camera.
Oh, let me write that down. We'll get that in a second. 21.
A little before.
Okay, 21. I'll put 21. Oh, I'll put 21. Yep, we'll get to that in a sec. And then, but so I want to show you this because some people have suggested it's a selfie, but it just maybe those of you who have used the Be Real app, look at it again. I think that's what's going on. But then again, the thing we also want to look at that was commented from the live chat is it looks like she's taking a picture of Jack behind her. So let's look and see what we can surmise from this.
She could be FaceTiming with somebody, showing a live image of Maddie and maybe saying, look how lit Maddie is. She's drunk. Look at this. And
yeah.
So maybe it's not even a picture, which is unfortunate because if she's not taking a picture, because I don't think it never saves any FaceTime session, right?
No.
Nobody's looking at them, so I mean, they're looking at each other talking.
Yeah. Who knows?
The
Maybe
only
she's
one
on the
looking
phone
at
with Jack.
What?
Joe was a little.
Isn't she smiling and laughing like she's smiling and laughing at how silly Maddie is being for the person who maybe she's on the phone FaceTiming with. Because she'd be able to see Maddie on her phone as well as the person she's FaceTiming with, right? You see both your own camera and the camera of the person you're FaceTiming with. So.
No, I think that's a really great guess too. Here, let's take a look at it and see what you guys think in the chat.
And she's kind of holding the phone there for a while, so
Yeah,
it's
definitely garlic. We'll add chicken to it. Anything else for you?
But we should see if she answers a call or makes a call to somebody else.
That's a good. Yeah, that's what she's looking for.
We're doing death by garlic with chicken. 5 cheese.
Yeah, see, maybe the phone rang there.
Anything else?
She's answering it now, like, oh yeah, look. I don't know. I've always assumed she was taking a picture, but that looks like she might have answered her phone for some
I
reason.
don't know. I think that
No,
you're right.
this looks like
I
she's
mean,
looking at a picture.
it seems like she was taking a picture behind her. I think that's
Yeah.
interesting. I do. I think that does look kind of like it. But then again, perfect angle is she's trying to hit Maddie's perfect angle too. Who knows? Maybe she was trying to get the Grub truck in the shot too. But
Yeah, and the guys in the Grub truck are going to be up higher because they're up in the truck, so she would be pointing the phone upward. Maddie's low in the foreground of the shot, and the Grub truck guys are high in the background. Not necessarily high, but they probably could have been.
Too bad we can't see that window in the background. You could see I'm not being funny here. You could see the reflection of the phone and see what she was doing. See if she was pointing it at anybody or pointing at Jack.
we'll go back one more time, and then we'll look at those other timestamps. We'll go to the 21 timestamp Jeff just mentioned.
When I put this video together, it was really sad. This moment here where I decided I'm gonna like just get a close up, and because when you're watching the 4 images, you don't really focus on just this moment between the 2 of them. And I think somebody left some comments on the YouTube channel. It's like this was really, really just started to bring tears because it's it's just
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It really is. And that's why I really wanted to open with that first comment that I put up. And I don't know if you saw it, Jeff, but it is. I think anyone who's watching it feels very surreal because we're watching, 2 people living their best life and with so much promise and hope. And just hours later, we know what happened. It's very surreal. All right.
And it was wondering if I was going too slow and you're going to switch it back. And I was really scared of that. That's what I was scared of. Nope.
Yes, let them fear.
You guys know.
Did you see Kaylee motion to the right, to the left?
Minutes, which is.
Can you back that up a little bit?
Absolutely.
Look, she motioned to her left, and she's kind of moving her neck to the left.
I mean, that was a solid rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but this is Friday and Saturday in a row that got you down round 1. So
Right.
I'm liking it. Liking it a lot, guys.
Guess who's gonna fucking need extra slow in a second? This bad boy.
Tebow's thinking to himself, if I start slowing down on Bang, maybe I'll get to sit down. He's gonna try to sabotage me. I actually was wondering if I was going too slow and you're going to
Right
switch
there.
back. And I'm really scared of that.
yeah, I see what you mean.
Yes, let them fear.
You guys know, like the highest.
Yeah, is that like a head gesture motion? So like, I think Jack thinks he's coming home with me, but I don't see him that way,
Oh, no.
All right. So you said right to 21. Let's see.
Yeah,
So
you got it right there. Yeah, it's right in that neighborhood.
All right. So why don't you set this one up for us? What are we looking at, Jeff?
Yeah, no, so what I think I see is when Joe switches his phone to camera mode, I think you can see he's taking either a snapshot or some video from Sweater Guy's phone. And as he moves his phone, you can see the background move as if, yes, that's truly the camera turned on. And I think I could make out like the Sweater Guy's sweater in the image on Joe's phone. This is going from memory. I haven't looked at this spot in a while, but that's what I remember.
Should I just hit it frame by frame or should I hit play?
No, just hit it play and see, because you'll see the phone will move as if, I think it's, a live camera, because everybody was saying, oh, he's watching all the victims getting killed on the live stream, like this is a big sporting pay-per-view event or something. It's like, really? Okay. You see
But
it.
I mean,
I know you
part
see it.
of it is, Jeff, is that, people really have strong passions about these alternative theories. And I mean, I think exploring it is a good way for people to really see with their own eyes what's going on. Like, I understand, I don't
Yeah,
think
no, I agree. I agree. Yeah, no stone left unturned, but I think at some point you have to kind of question a little bit, like, what are the what's the probability of this, and then talk about that. Because if you don't talk about it, then you really do. At some point, I think you believe that is true, and then you pass it on to others, and it hasn't really been thought through fully, I don't think. I mean, not saying it's not impossible, but it just seems like if you have just 5 people that have signed up for a pay-per-view to watch these people be, like, unalived, you don't think one of them is going to just get to say, this is wrong. I should tell somebody. I mean, and they're talking about a big, large group of people over there by the Grub truck, all enjoying watching somebody. I mean, how much hatred can you have for a person that you want to say, look, oh, there they go, they're gone now, or I don't know. It just doesn't seem probable.
I'm not exploring that theory right now, but I mean, what I don't want to do is discourage people in the chat from leaving your timestamps of things you want us to explore. We're not going to, discourage anyone if you have something you want to explore. Like, part of it is this is great because then, like, people can like Jeff, who studied this footage for a long time, can give his 2 cents and help debunk or help to understand those scenarios. But I just encourage anyone who does have something that they want us to check out, go ahead and leave this timestamp in there. There's no question that's stupid. There's no speculate. We're here to speculate. And if you have it in the back of your mind and you bring it up, maybe we can debunk it or bring up good points, like Jeff said. Like,
Right.
let's be realistic about this. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I just want to know before we play this, I'm not trying to. That's not what I'm looking for. I just wanted to see what was on his phone.
Yeah, and I agree that all opinions are valid and everything should be discussed, and in that all opinions are valid, that even when those that disagree, like for those that come to me and say, I think there's like 15 people over there against the wall near the Grub truck that are all watching the a couple of the victims. Obviously, just a couple of victims because Kaylee and Maddie are right there, but maybe Ethan and Xana, they're watching them be unalive back at the house on closed circuit cameras. But I think it's okay then. That's okay to put it out. That's your idea at the moment and the thought, and let's just think it through. It's like, okay, what's the possibility of that many people being that evil, that hateful, that uncaring of somebody losing their life? Not having an ounce of like, maybe if they apologize tomorrow, I would forgive them and I would feel differently about them and I wouldn't want them unalived. So I think what's beautiful is when you can have the conversation with, I have this idea, but then this person has a total disagreement. You should be able to talk about that. And if this happens on what is this? It was a Wednesday night. We have a disagreement. You know what? The goal should be that we can still talk about it tomorrow night and the next night, and without, with like no hatred of each other, no like animosity. It's like we hug it out. We say we agree to disagree. I'll talk to you tomorrow. It's cool, man. We'll continue this. Put a pin in it. We're going to continue this conversation, this friendly conversation of disagreement. That's a beautiful thing. But it's when it's like, that's a stupid idea, and I hope I didn't come across that way. I just think I can't see that many people being that evil, hateful, and loving of murder, to the point it's like this. I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine like, hey, there's a guy walking down the street. Hey, you're missing this. Come over here and check this out. I mean, I could understand if it's a football game. It's like, look, they got 5 minutes left in the game. I think the Chiefs are going to win.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, but you have to also, what I've come to understand from my viewers and the people that answer these questions, they're not coming from thin air. They are being sent emails and they are being sent material suggesting that these things happened, and they attach larger creators' names to it, so it lends it credibility. So when you start hearing about Fight Club and Linda Lane, it's not coming from thin air. There's a narrative being pushed out there, whoever's doing it. So, I mean, I know I've received the emails. I ignored them, but I'm telling you, like, that narrative just doesn't come out of thin air. It's something that's
Can I
by somebody.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you believe in Fight Club?
Do I believe in fight clubs?
Do you believe that there was a Fight Club?
No.
Okay.
They did have some video of what looked like a fight club over at one of the buildings. But the thing is, it's like when I watched it, I thought, wait, everybody painted the fight club as being like, this is where the genesis of where somebody losing their life comes from this. But the fight that I saw, it looked like it was safe. It looked like there was somebody saying, okay, stop, break it up, like trying to keep it safe. It's just a circle of people, and these guys are just boxing and having a good time. I didn't see. Now, granted, I have to assume that was the Fight Club, that it truly, and I do believe it. Yes, it is truly from Moscow, because I remember somewhere I could find it. I got the guy's YouTube channel, and earlier in the video, I think they're in a car and they're talking about, the university and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, I saw a Fight Club type of thing that seemed to be, everybody's kind of into it. But it's not like fight to the death. It's just like sparring. When the guy starts punching and the guys get obviously losing, they break it up,
Yeah, and 12, just to finish what I was just want to add one more thing. When you asked me if I think there was a fight club, I'm saying, do I think that a fight club led to the 4 unalivings? My answer, I want to clarify. What I meant is, I don't believe that these unalivings came from a fight club. But I don't say that I don't not believe in fight clubs, and I definitely heard of fights going on that night. And if I were like fresh on this case and I was going with just like the first, just witness what people were saying, like word on the street, we do know that there was
Right.
a confrontation and a fight that night at the fraternity involving one of the victims and verbally involving a second one of the victims. So, and there was a roommate who was present in the house during the homicide at the fight. So, I mean, it's not that I think that was the cause of it. I can see where it's not out of the realms of possibility if you were fresh looking at the case, just trying to figure out what happened. One of the victims was in a fight that night in a group setting. So, I mean,
Well, the reason I asked that is because, when they were talking about the 400 witnesses, I mean, instantly people were attaching, well, there was 400 people watching this fight club. So that's why I was asking that, is because that's where people were attaching that. They were saying, well, there was 400 people watching this fight that led to what eventually happened. So that's why I asked you that. And that's where the 400 witnesses, the 400 questionnaires, all that stuff. It's like people put all that together, and after a while, you have to ask yourself analytical questions sometimes. If you're able to do that, is that possible? Can 400 people keep a secret?
no. Jeff, do you think the 400 witnesses could have been 400 people? What are your take on the 400 witnesses? Just like to know your organic thoughts on that.
I'm trying to remember now. The 400 witnesses was mentioned where?
In a hearing
In the
by
hearing.
Ann Taylor. And she said she had to go through 400 witnesses, and we were all kind of like, what? And then again, now 12 is reminding me that's kind of why this fight club theory came back into the forefront, is because.
Is that where she was saying the people weren't talking to her? They weren't.
Yeah.
Okay, that was during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to be able to. If she's talking about 400 witnesses she talked to, then how did the 400 number become then the number of people that are watching something like that? Is that what you're saying? That
I mean, maybe people are using it.
How can they be both? I don't know. I mean, the other thing too is I think I think all ideas and theories are fine. I mean, we're not on the jury. None of us are going to play a role in any of this. The truth will be found out eventually, when the trial happens. So, whatever we think now, I'm sure I don't know there's going to be anybody that's going to be like, man, I got everything right. Everything that I thought is exactly what happened. I didn't get a thing wrong. I knew I just knew what she told Adam. I told you that's what she told Adam. Got it all right. Nothing wrong.
Quit spreading my lines. Quit spreading my lines out there, Jeff. I told you about that.
Jeff, are you using somebody else's line?
Which line did
Jeff,
I steal?
I gave you that classified information.
Well, I'm often saying, like, if you want to know what I think, just go listen to Daniel at Drunk Turkey Show. So if I had to be a betting man, I'd be like, okay, I think Daniel will get. Not that this is like something to have a game like this or a prize. Who got who got the most right or anything. It's not a laughing matter at all. I know, but I don't know. But all I'm trying to say is that we're all going to be like right about maybe a couple things. We're going to be wrong about a couple of things, and then there'll be some things that would be shocked, I'm sure, that we didn't even think of. It's like, oh man. Like, I know everybody I was thinking of at the beginning was like, oh, it's got to be one of the Jacks. It seems logical it's one of the Jacks. What? They arrested a guy in Pennsylvania? What the heck is going on?
All right, you
You
guys.
know
I'm
what
gonna.
jacket
Jeff, I know
was?
it's gonna torture
Hey,
you, but I'm.
I got some inside information for the YouTube streams. You know
All
what
right.
jacket was?
What Jack?
It
Car
was
jack?
it
The
was
jack
Jack.
stands at the.
It was Jack, the owner of Jack in the Box.
Ah.
That's what jacket was.
That was
Nice.
random. All right, we got a new theory. Hey, it's just
Yeah.
viable as any other. Oh, thank you for the sweet comments in the chat, you guys. All right, so these are the timestamps I'm going to let me show you what I'm going to pull up, and then we'll go ahead and pull up. So at 1:46 we have yes, and again these are all from Jeff's channel. Give Jeff
these
credit.
comments from people that commented on my channel?
Yes.
I love these people. They comment on my channel. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, well, you know.
Oh,
So-
Tom Van. You got one from Tom Van. That's my friend. Tom Van is the one who told me about the butt end of the knife being that Marines were trained to use the butt end of the knife like a hammer and a weapon to, you know, and that's where the whole theory in my head to start thinking about them being knocked unconscious first before using the sharp end of the same knife, you know. Okay, all started with Tom Van posting a comment about that. So thank you,
Tom
Tom.
Van is very smart, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. All right, so okay, so I put these in pretty much order. So these are the beginning ones. We have yes. So the first timestamp is 1:46. He's wearing a gray pullover, and a toboggan walks you with a group guys. With is that the word toboggan? I don't know how to spell it. With a yellow on his hood. There was a video that shows blood on both shoes, and he looks suspect. And then I think this is supposed to be, I'm starting to think BK isn't the killer because of at 5:32, that dude in the tank top and the shorts is complete madman. LOL, Jesus. That sounds like bubbly waters. Just saying. Then this person says, your boy, Tommy Van says, I noticed that at 8, that woman people think is Xana actually talks to Apple Pay, and her voice is very different from Xana. So we're going to look at that. And then at 8:47, somebody says, that is not Xana. Her overall silhouette is very similar, but her face structure is very different. And then we have an end timestamp we'll get to. So the first one I'm going to do, let's go to 1:46. Oh, whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry. 1:46. Uh-oh, you guys, am I like losing my stream energy? And oh my gosh.
What are you losing?
What are we looking at? I said my stream energy. What are we looking at again? So we're looking for, yes, you are right. The time 1:46, he's wearing a gray pullover with toboggan walks with a group of guys with a yellow on his hood. And there's a video that shows blood on both shoes. He looks suspect. Okay. So wait, which guy? The yellow hoodie guy? With the toboggan sweater? Hold on. You guys help me out with this.
Gray pullover.
Gray pullover.
He must mean something other than toboggan, because a toboggan is a sled, but I think
Gray pullover.
it must mean something on his head at 1:46.
All right, let's just play it. Here we go. I'll turn the volume up.
Brother, do you want tacos? I got you. No, thank you.
Dude, loser. Inside pants are the way.
Okay, so I think it was that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a straight
Yeah,
veggie.
no, I'll do 2 of those.
2? Yeah, you got it.
Are you guys doing burritos right now?
Yeah, everything. We got everything. We're not out of anything. Where floats your boat.
All right, here it comes. So it's a girl, first off. But do you guys see blood?
No. I do see some good motion blur on her feet. Did you notice that 12 gauge? Kind of like the headlights on the gas station camera. You
Yeah.
back up to where her foot goes by. You can see her foot looks like it's twice as long as it is. I think that's the same thing that's happening on the headlights of that gas station car. We back up just a couple more photos, frames. There you go. See, look how long and blurred. That's just motion blur.
But 146 is right here. What the
Is it
heck
this
are
girl coming in?
toboggan ones? Does anybody see blood on anybody? That's what we're looking for. All right. Well,
Now maybe their computer screen is a little dirty in it. You ever sneeze when you're eating something with ketchup? Maybe the ketchup hits the screen and you didn't clean it off. I see blood on the screen. Okay, I'm just joking.
so next we have 532, which this person says this dude is a complete madman. Let's check it out.
Oh my God, I'm so mad right now.
Why?
That live stream that I did earlier, I gave that lady props, and I told my chat that I got that from somebody else. She put a claim on me, and I even emailed her earlier and asking her if she wanted to be on panel to explain it further. I emailed her and detailed that I was planning on using her stuff, and she still.
Well, we can, if you want, we can hang out for a second after the live chat, and I'll tell you more about that. But it shouldn't be anything that bad. I'll talk to you more about it afterwards. Just don't.
Sorry about that, guys.
And you know what? If worse comes to worse, you'll have me on panel to redo it, so you can teach me about this subject, which I know nothing about.
This just means that you've arrived, 12 gauge. You're somebody. You're making an impact.
I'm snatching the material. All right, so here we go. We're gonna look at the guy that, again, the madman who made this person say Jesus. Here we go.
And then pork tacos. Oh yeah. How many pork tacos would you like? Just come with one. It's one, but they're like 6 to 7 ounce tacos. They're not like small little street tacos. I don't eat 2, 3 is a lot for me. So one would be fine if I was getting pasta or yeah, that's gonna be almost 2 pounds. I better get 2. Okay, you got it. I got 2 pork tacos. Right on. 1 5 cheese, 1 basil pesto, 2 pork tacos, $24.50.
Someone say Jesus. So that must have been part of her
see
quote.
who they're talking about.
Well, okay, so she said Jesus, LOL, Jesus. That must have, because I just heard.
I think that's just them saying. That's just their comment. The commenters.
Well, that's what I thought too, but
yeah,
I heard Jesus. I don't know, you guys. Let's try 532 one more time. Tell me if you see the madman that drove this person to bring Jesus into it. We'll go back. We'll go 2 seconds ahead of
that dude in the tank top and shorts is a complete madman. Are they just simply saying, like, why is he in the middle of winter wearing tank top and shorts? Is that all? I think that's all they're trying to say.
I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, that he's a madman.
Jackass does the "I'm not worthy" thing to him. He starts going, "I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy," doing it up and down.
All right, let's do it.
Definitely. I get pork tacos. Oh yeah. How many pork tacos would you like?
I think you're right.
That guy's got to be cold.
And I'll tell you why I think you're right is because if we go back to exactly the timestamp, which was 5:32, and she's saying LOL Jesus, I think you guys got it. He's a madman because he's wearing a tank top. This isn't going to take forever.
Yeah.
Let me go back to.
Yeah.
Are you using the period and comma keys to go 1 frame at a time?
Yeah.
Because you can use the J and the L to go like 5. Is it 5 seconds or 10 seconds? Arrow keys to the left and right go 5 seconds. J and L go 10 seconds. That's what it is.
It's just
so you can go either 10, 5,
just 2 John
or frame by frame.
Definitely. I get
okay, I'll go frame by frame from here because it's so right. You guys see the madman to the left. I mean, it's the only thing they could be talking about. Nobody's doing anything crazy. Let me go back. So that must be what he's talking about. That's the madman. The guy in the tank top and shorts. at the Grub truck. I mean, I think that must be what she's talking about. So.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. So these are the two Xana quotes. These are debunking Xana was at the Grub truck. And I think from all of us that know about the information about Xana's alibi, most of us wouldn't assume she's there. However, people still do believe she's there. And this viewer put these two timestamps in because she thinks these were two separate people because it could possibly debunk this rumor. So there's timestamp 8 and timestamp 847. So.
Yeah. At the time I made this video, there was a lot of talk of people wondering if this was Xana.
Yeah, I
thing
remember.
is I think if this truly was Xana, we would have heard about it by now. I was on a live stream with Kara once, and I know we talked about the TikTok post that never forget the foundation in the bathtub. She was unaware of that. She hadn't heard of that. But it seems like that would have been an opportunity where she would have mentioned, did you see they captured, final moments of Xana at the Grub truck? There was none of that, If anybody's going to... If I knew my kid there was some video that I didn't know about, and it's the last video, I would definitely say something. It would have been out.
Yeah, no, but again, we're here to show people with their own eyes what they can see, and
Right.
So I believe if we're looking at this timestamp correctly, this would be the girl in the Idaho sweatshirt right there would be who they're assuming is Xana, and I think what
No,
she's
I think it's a lighter. Well, every time there was about 3 or 4 or 5 times that I put close-ups, and I even put little words on the screen. Is this Xana? So I think you. Well, keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're not. You're not at all. I'm absorbing what you're saying. She said timestamp 8 at 8 minutes. So I'm wondering, do you put the quotes about Xana at around this time, or is it?
Yeah.
No, I
don't
have a
remember.
$6 waiting for me. I would like to use it.
So she's saying she might be saying she thinks.
Please turn this down. What'd you say?
She's saying that at 8. Well, actually, the person that I thought everybody's talking about is Xana. See, the light-colored woman, this light-colored girl that's next to the girl in the Idaho with the white purse around her arm. That girl with the long hair, kind of looking towards the camera, looking towards the Grub truck. It's turning now. She's got kind of a long, light-colored shirt.
Wait.
That's the one I believe that a lot of people were wondering if it was Xana. And there are many times in this video where I punch in for a close-up.
That's
All right. Well,
Enon
let's look at
Harsh.
the other times. What was that? 12? What was that?
Is that
12?
Enon Harsh?
Gosh,
That's the
don't
guy that
start-
resembles Enon Harsh, I think.
There are just too many clones in this video.
So 8:32 was the next one she had said, where you can kind of hear Xana's. Oh, you know what it was? I remember. We're doing the wrong thing. 8 a.m. Well, let's look at this thing again. One of them was her voice. So 8:47 is her silhouette, but at 8 a.m. the woman people think is Xana actually talks about Apple Pay, and her voice is very different. We were doing this incorrectly, guys. Let's go back to 8
Oh,
a.m.
I see. It's in the sound.
Right. Okay. We'll go back to 7. Oh, whoops. Hello.
Do you guys ever see the nice things that Harsh from said about this Grub truck video?
You told me in the last live stream that he
Yeah,
kind of gave you a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, I was just kind of joking around, but it was kind of like he mentioned Jeff H. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but it was pretty kind, and I totally unexpected that he, mentioned this video at all.
Yeah, he's a huge creator. That's pretty good that he shined the spotlight on you. That's very nice and very gracious. Wait,
And you made it in Chaos Sector's video before too.
When Jeff, when you were saying that about Xana, what I noticed when I back this up is the girl in the lighter colored sweater is right there with her phone. You can see it in the bottom right hand corner because they're talking about Apple Pay. So I think you're right, 100%, that they're talking about the girl in the light sweater. So I turned the volume all the way up. Let's see what we can hear.
Extra slaw? Is that a charge? No, it's not a charge. It's just a modifier. Hello.
Yeah, I don't think that's her. All right, let's go to the next one, 8:47, and then we just have 3 more timestamps, and then I won't take you guys' entire night. Hold on.
Take it. Just take it.
Right.
Just sleep.
I like my brain is shot. I can't even remember what we're looking at. Okay, the silhouette is different in this timestamp. That's what we're looking at. All right, here we go.
Three? It's not. You're the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it. So I have a chicken taco and 3 5-cheese mac and cheeses.
Yes.
Okay.
I've just looked at Xana's face for so long, and you can tell the curve of her face is totally different. That was a good comment, and it seems like, Jeff, you honed in on that too, because you obviously did a close up right there. Oh. All right. What do we have next? All right, so I'm just going to click on the timestamps, and I mean, it's hard enough to go through all of these. So I have them all written down. Let's go to, I guess I don't. So we're going to do 11:33 and 11:52, and that's when, that's when they ditch him. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, so back to 11:33. So other people said things about this. So this is what's going on. JS is pointing at them at 11:32, and Maddie's pointing right back at JS around 11:42. And at 11:52, she's saying something like "F you" to him. And Kaylee looks a little worried at that moment. I don't care if Ellie cleared JS, and then it's just going into JS. So let's take a look at these timestamps, 33, 42, and 52. I'm just going to let it play until 12 minutes because they're all one after the other. I'll pause them on each one. So 11:33.
Really good to not lose your wallet. Guys, fuck yeah, great ticket times. Honestly, like Luke, Tebow, really solid.
11:33, pointing at Maddie. So we're just narrating this for you so you can see Jay pointing at Maddie. And then Maddie pointed back at him right after that.
Love it. Very
So,
pleased.
Joe, how
All right,
close are we
back
to
in.
you sitting down on Friday nights?
I mean, that was a solid rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but
So cute.
this is Friday, Saturday in a row that got you down round 1. So I'm liking it. Liking it a lot, guys.
Guess he's gonna fucking need extra slaw in a second. This bad boy.
Tebow's thinking to
It's a
himself.
frame to leave it on. And I mean, I just wanted to pause it on that frame just because it had a nice shot of Maddie and Kaylee. And I mean, I don't have any more timestamps. I'm sure after this we're gonna get a bunch more in the comments, but I just think for me, like, this is, I hate to say it, but like if I was one of the victims, if I was one of the family members of the victims, I feel like this is just a beautiful moment that they have, with their family that's caught on tape. So I'm just touched by it. The more I watch it, the one thing that comes away from me is just watching what beautiful friendships Maddie and Kaylee had. And I definitely think if I did take an observation that was correct, there definitely does seem to be like some sort of chemistry between Maddie and Jay, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just an observation. So anyway, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in conclusion to our Grub truck deep dive.
Yeah, go ahead, 12 gauge.
Oh, I thought she was asking the chat.
Oh, she is. Are you asking the chat?
As far as the Grub truck, I mean, I really haven't looked into it deep enough to really have any comments on it. I mean, I've seen Jeff's grub truck videos, and I mostly just looked at the close-ups and stuff, and you really, I mean, I can't see anything that would give away anything that would be worthy of evidence.
I haven't seen anything quite yet either. But if I was studying this from the beginning, I mean, I'd be looking at every angle of this grub truck if I didn't know what I know now. Anyway, your thoughts, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that it's this moment in time is captured, and I guess you can look at it one of two ways. Like, oh man, we're so fortunate to have this footage of them just doing what they were doing that night and having, like you say, living their best life, having a good time. You get to hear what it's a nicer thought of when you think of somebody that's being put to death or something, that's their last meal. That's a negative thinking about a last meal. But this is two friends. You hear what they're ordering. You hear Kaylee try to use her points, I guess, but she didn't have enough points to use to. It's just a really nice moment between them. And but then I guess you can look at it and say, well, these. Just like somebody that works in like the security at a department store, it's like you're checking the cameras. Oh, this looks like a mother and daughter shopping for Christmas presents, but you look a little closer, then you say, oh wait, they're shoplifting. She's putting stuff in her bag, So you got to kind of look at it with eyes that are see it for what it initially looks like. But I don't see anything wrong with looking a little deeper to see if there's anything else. Of course, I think I do have limits, so I won't go too far. Actually, what do you guys think of when the guy that takes the orders, he is talking to somebody that has, I guess, made a comment or asked a question on the Twitch stream, on the computer screen he's looking at, and he says people have fallen, and I've seen a lot of people comment and saying, oh, that's referring to the four. My gut
right here at it's 142.21. Just if anyone wants to say, I think.
Is that where he says
that?
that?
Wait, no, 158.18 is where he says it. Yeah, it was one of the comments. We just didn't get to it. So.
Do you want to play that or?
Yeah, let me play that. All right.
I mean, I have a theory of what's that means, but.
Oh, good. Oh, no, this is great. Oh, wait a second. This doesn't go to 1 hour. Like it's in your other one.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, there's the full one that was the entire full Twitch stream. And then there's this one that is really just kind of focusing on the time that Maddie and Kaylee are there.
And we're starting with the line tonight, so everyone. Hey, what's up?
4 points. Let's go. Pork taco chip.
Jeff, how do I skip forward 10 seconds?
Yeah, the J and the L. The K in the middle is pause. So that's a video editors use that all the time to go backwards and forwards.
Okay, well, this is exactly 11 seconds beforehand. So let me hit it one more time. Okay, there we go. We're perfect.
No.
Nope. You don't want anything? You sure you don't want anything? Just tell me. Okay. Somebody wants to
75.
Food to you. Give you free food.
Have a good night.
I mean,
I'm not gonna pass it up.
Yeah, they said does that girl in the white jacket want food? And they said she cute.
Well, thank you. Her boyfriend's over there.
Her boyfriend's over there.
So I mean, I'll still take your food.
Is this the right thing?
No, it would be no, because it's the other guy. The other guy is the
the other guy
at the cash register.
Am I on the right video? Do you think I'm on the wrong video?
Well, I mean, it's one or the other. If you've got a timestamp, if it's not the one, it doesn't go to the right place, and maybe it is the other one.
But the other one.
What is the timestamp?
158.18. Oh, I am. I'm way too. Well, I played it. Let's go back. We'll go right before 158.18.
Or maybe they're referring to the time that I put in the bottom corner of that other video.
Oh, you're right, Jeff. OMG.
That's like the actual time of the night.
Yep, slide down more. Okay, so that's the spot. Says,
yeah.
get yourselves a beer. What was that? All right, guys.
Let's go. Okay. All right. So 158.18. Let me use the. Okay, we're going to use the L. Okay, L. Here we go. This is 158.12. So this is, 6 seconds beforehand, guys. Here we go.
Yeah, I got one cheese sauce left. Or what's that partial with that? What's the partial in there? Okay. Okay, thank you. Did you put the last bag in?
Well, Jeff, it'll be a good timestamp for us to go over, but why don't you go on with what you were saying? So a lot of people think that in this timestamp we're searching for the Grub truck order taker says many have
People
fallen.
have fallen. Yeah.
And you have a theory on what you think?
Yeah, no, my theory was that, where my mind first went is that, this is a Grub truck. A lot of people out here, maybe intoxicated, standing outside in the cold, in the freezing cold. And is it possible that somebody on the Twitch stream has said, when it's snowing and icy out there, has anybody ever slipped, these people are watching from Twitch or watching all these people acting up, the guys lifting or the girls lifting the guy with the sweater, all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's what my thought is, that somebody just asked the question, has anybody ever slipped and fallen out in front of your Grub truck and gotten injured, or, so that's where my mind went. That was it's just a guess, but
That's a good guess. I mean, there's also a lot of people that are coming out after the club and parties, so they could have fallen from just falling too.
yeah.
And I thought this
but does it mean that he's like cluing into somebody, like, okay, we've unalived 2 of them and the other 2 should be back at 112 soon, so stay tuned, it'll be 4. I just don't see that guy being involved in something like that. Hey, are you guys of any interest in seeing the nice things that Harsh Reality did say? Because I found the video clip. Can I show it?
Of course you can. But before you do, I just want to read these 2 comments while I have the thought. I just want to put this out there because I hadn't heard of this before. They deleted the chat from the original Grub truck, and then my mod had asked, I wonder why they deleted it. And I mean, I'm just saying, food for thought. The chat was deleted. Kind of weird. But anyway, Jeff, you show me, either tell me where to go or you can share your screen, whatever.
Yeah, I've got the video queued up backstage. Okay. I got it queued up right.
There it is. Okay. So I just, for those that don't like Harsh, I'm sorry.
Who doesn't like Harsh?
If Harsh is in your cup of tea, I'm sorry, guys. I did that for you, Jeff. That was that's how I meant to deliver the line. Sorry.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
We're ready.
What we had to revert back to was the Grub truck. And what I will say is that a lot of you have reached out to me, and it was through reaching out to me that I found this video. I'm just going to share who it is, which is this here, which is Jeff H. Now, out of all of the videos of the Grub truck footage, this footage by Jeff, I don't know of who Jeff is. His face rings a bell. I don't know whether I've spoken to him previously. Somebody said in emails he's not everyone's cup of tea. I don't know much about that, but what I do know is, as far as I can find with respect of the Grub truck footage, this is pretty much the most clearest you will find. The enhancements that's been done to the video, the audio, are film quality enhancements. They're so good. So if you're interested in looking at the Grub truck and getting a better indication of what actually happened on that night at that truck, that's the one to go and check out. So yeah, that's Jeff H. Now there is a link in the description. I should have said that at the beginning, shouldn't I? There's a link.
But I can never say anything bad about Harsh after something like that. That is like, I was like, send me an invoice. How much I owe you for that? That was really nice. So
I feel like that should be your channel trailer.
yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
How
I
much
should
would
do
that cost you on Cameo? That probably cost you like hundreds of dollars. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was so cool because I remember the day people were saying, "Hey, did you see what Harsh said about you?" And I was like, "Oh no, what?" And it's like, "Oh no, that's all good. That's all good stuff." You know, and then it made me think. It's like, "Oh man, I didn't know it was going to get any praise. I could have done an even better job." Because some of the, I don't know if you look at some of the images that I cropped. I mean, there's still some of the edging that I see. I could have resized them a little better, but
I actually, while you were talking, I grabbed 2 banners so I can tell my guests where to find you guys. Oops. So I have 2 for you, 12. I have 12 Gauge Phillips, which I think is your actual handle, but 12 Gauge Investigates is your new name to your channel. But you can find them either way, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we had agreed on, gosh, that was like 3 hours ago. So I hope I get this right. 8:20, I'm going to be on 12's panel tomorrow. And are we talking Brady Giglio?
I don't know. I'll have to
find out tomorrow, guys. And then while we're chatting, I want to pull up Jeff H's handle just so you guys have this too. So all the footage to the Grub truck tonight, that was all off of Jeff's channel. You heard what Harsh said. Harsh has seen all the Grub truck footage, the best out there. So please visit both their channels and show them.
please subscribe to Jeff H. You must subscribe to Jeff H. Please, please listen to me. Really now, come on. Did you see the Grub truck video? It's film-like quality. Jeff H. People, Jeff H.
That's our Jeff. Thank you, Harsh. I also want to say, both of you guys, it's so nice that you just jumped up here on panel and joined me tonight. I had such a good time. There was such great energy. The live chat was so good tonight. I wish I displayed more comments, but just looking at your conversation, it was just so interesting to hear what you had to say. And I'll have to go back and just get some new ideas when we revisit the Grub truck, because you guys had so much to say. So that's gonna be it.
That was a really cool idea too, to like take little snippets of people's comments from the Grub truck page. I mean, I think that's cool because people comment, and I value every comment. I think I try to answer just about all of them. Even if I don't agree with them, I thank people for stopping by, taking the time to comment. So it's kind of cool to like see they get an extra like bite at the apple. Like, hey, my comment, I thought that's long gone. It's in the past. No, here it is again. We get to see it again. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know that I would have thought to do that. To like, you're showing Grub truck footage, you're showing comments from people. Yeah, that was cool. So thank you for thank them for leaving the comments, but thank you for clipping them and showing them and putting them together. Did you save your project though? Did you save your work? You're not like detective, Okay, you saved your project.
Yes, I did. I saved my work, and I will say, just along the same lines, I mean, it says something about you because it's the comments from your subscribers and the people who watch your video. And I knew that was where I'd probably find like the most insight. And I mean, I still have questions. I feel like there are other things I've seen on that Grub truck footage, which we didn't go over tonight, that I'd like to explore, but I feel like this is a good starting place. And I really enjoyed, like, if anything, if I take away anything from tonight, it was actually kind of nice seeing that footage and watching it over and over again of Maddie and Kaylee, because we hear so many dark things, and that it's kind of a special moment. So putting everything else aside, it's one of the more pleasant things that we can study when it comes to this case. So.
There's actually on the Grub truck footage, I'm surprised not more people talk about it, but the other guy that was at the cash register that you were first looking at there?
Yeah.
I think early on in that stream, he says something about like there are those that won't wake up in the morning or something like that. It's just, but I think I was listening to his comments. He just got kind of like a dark sense of humor, and just, I'm not even sure what he meant, but go look at that and see what you think of that. I'm surprised more people haven't talked about that, because I would think of all the comments that are like, but it's early on. It's like way before, Kaylee and Maddie show up at the truck, and it wasn't very busy. And I think he was just trying to fill time, and he realizes he's on camera, just trying to.
So you literally just bring up the two most controversial things of the Grub truck, and then you don't, Jeff. Like, Honestly,
I'd go right to it if I knew where it was, but I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, that's kind of prophetic.
so we've done a deep dive on the Grub truck, but the person who created the Grub truck film for all of us says there's 2 quotes on here. One of them is, by the in the morning, there are those that won't be here. And then another statement saying others have fallen. So those are interesting. I want to hear those for my own ears. So
Yeah. If I find it, I'll send you an email or something with the time code for it. But
okay.
I think it's towards the beginning. I mean, I don't think it means anything, but it's just, it's one of those things. It's like, whoa, that's kind of an odd thing to say with considering everything.
I'll be diving back into that. That's really interesting. And again, thank you to Dean, who sent, which sparked Jeff coming up here, sent me that screenshot of the girl making the signal at the camera. That was a really good jumping off point for us to start the Grub truck. So thank you to everyone who participated. And that's going to be it tonight. So thank you for everything and have a great night, you guys. Take care.
Nunya knows what the code is. See what Nunya Business said?
What?
Nunya says no. He says, "How do you wake up dead?" Yeah, I think that's what it was. Something like that. Yeah, it was just really well, and believe me, I'm not trying to say, "Hey everybody, here's a Easter egg. Go try and find it. Go to my channel." That's not what this is about. It's just seriously, it is just I remember a comment like that, and I think she's right. I think it was something like that.
Well, we're gonna have to take another deep dive, I think, and just hear for our own ears and see what we can observe. We're just putting it out there for you guys so you can have the information and you can choose to do with it what you want and form your own conclusions and do your own research to it. So.
Indeed. Is your left hand still blurry if you hold it up, Kiki?
Probably.
Weren't you talking about that the other night? Oh, what's wrong with your hand?
I blur the background because
what are you trying to hide?
Dust bunnies. Just kidding.
You've got a cut like Brian we thought had on her wrist. That's why it's blurred?
Steph, you are like in rare form tonight, I
think it's because I'm tired and I know I still have to do this editing project before you go to bed.
You have to do an editing I don't envy you.
They're short little videos, so it shouldn't take long.
Well, good luck to you. And thank you, 12, for coming on. And both of you guys are great. And I had such a good live stream. I wish you guys have a great night. And I'll see you all tomorrow.
You too.